Good day. Today we will talk about corporate governance issues in online awareness sessions of Management Mix. Let's talk about corporate governance. And we will discuss the corporate governance today. We will discuss what is corporate governance, defining the corporate governance rules, corporate governance systems, principles of corporate governance, and corporate culture. Who is the first person among the economists and scientists who started talking about importance of the corporate governance? Mr. Professor Bob Tricker, back in 1984, defined that, in short, if management is about running business, the governance is about seeing that it is run properly. And all companies need governing as well as managing. What does it mean? It means that we have to think about, not about the company's day-to-day operational management issues only, but we have to think about all the stakeholders of the company and their interests and their activities within the company, how much of interest any stakeholder could have in the company, and how that interest should be protected. The defining of corporate governance rules has started many years ago, and there are institutions working on them, and among them the international organizations and standard setters are Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Financial Stability Board, and the Board of Committee, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. These are the main three institutions which are setting the corporate governance rules for all types of the companies, including the financial institutions. And the financial economic crisis of the years of 2008 and 2009 triggered the revision of the principles of the corporate governance rules set by OECD, and strictly more important rules have been implemented for the banking sector especially. The Basel Committee and Banking Supervision Committee have set up the new guidelines for corporate governance principles for the banks in 2015, after many discussions within the banking and financial system. So what's the corporate governance system? Who are the players of the corporate governance system? There are main three pillars and main three stakeholders within the system. First of all, these are the shareholders of the company, then the board of directors and the management. And they are interconnected between themselves, and the corporate governance standards are setting the rules of their interconnections, which is shown on this diagram. You can see that the shareholders are electing and dismissing the board of directors of the companies, and the board of directors of the company is representing reports to the shareholders, and also the same board of directors is developing the strategy and overseeing the management of the company. What is the interaction between the shareholders and the management of the company? The shareholders are providing the capital for the company to be operated, and the management of the company has to manage the shareholders' capital. And the management of the company has to periodically report to the board of directors about the implementation of the strategy, which is set and approved by the board of directors, but the strategies are developed by cooperation between the management board and the board of directors, who are setting the milestones, and the management is developing the strategy of the company and then reporting on the implementation of the strategy periodically to the board of directors. And also, the board of directors is guiding and supervising the management and the board of management of any company. And according to the recent changes in the corporate governance standards and rules, the board of directors is becoming more and more responsible for the supervision and overseeing of all actions which management is performing during day-to-day operation of the bank. Current corporate governance rules are also advising the board of director members to more frequently visit the operational sites of the companies and go down from the hierarchical management systems, down to the simple employees, sometimes interview the employees and also the other stakeholders of the company, like clients and like suppliers and other stakeholders of the company. So the board of directors is responsible for more closer oversight of the performance of the management and operational practices which are held by the management within the company on day-to-day management basis. Principles of the corporate governance, I am talking about only the main principles. If you look at the principles, they vary from 11 for just corporations to 17 for financial institutions and the banks. But in short, what the corporate main principles are, these are ensuring the basis for the effective corporate governance framework, the rights and equitable treatment of the shareholders and key ownership functions, institutional investors, stock markets, and other intermediaries, the role of stakeholders in the corporate governance, disclosure and transparency, which is one of the most important things of the corporate governance good principles, and responsibilities of the board. As I mentioned, this is becoming more and more higher according to the current corporate governance standards. And especially nowadays, when there are many social and other difficulties in many countries, social unrest like in Chile or other countries have created and triggered more transparent and more equitable and equitable reporting from the companies and corporate entities to the all public and stakeholders. That is why in many developed countries they came up with some statements, like the Business America has come up with statement on stakeholder capitalism, which includes points which are not related only to the shareholders of the company, but it is highlighting the importance of the performance of the company vis-a-vis to its suppliers, to its employees, to its communities where they are operating in. And the same statements were made during this year's Davos conference in January 2020. And most of the big corporations which were participating in Davos came up with this same statement as well, which nowadays is called shifting from corporate capitalism to stakeholders capitalism. In short, this is it relates also to the corporate culture. It enhances the role of the corporations vis-a-vis to the communities, to their artifacts, to their good employees, to their suppliers, and to the countries where they are working in. This much, in short, for now. We can go into more details in training sessions later.